What's up, everybody? Josh from Red Short Trades here. Today is December 9th, and had a really great trade this morning. I want to share the trade review with you all. We got some interesting things happening this December. The volume has been slowing down is what I've been noticing across the tickers. The stocks are moving a little bit differently. A lot of the setups happen to be on the 5-minute time frame as opposed to the 1 minute, just because there's not as much volatility and volume, but there still are good trade setups occurring. And so you're still looking for impulsive moves. You're still following the standard break and retest of what we're ultimately trading here at Red Short Trades. So we're going to jump into the trade, Apple trade so far this morning, as well as something that happened with Tesla over the weekend. So stay tuned. All right. And here we are. So today we took an Apple trade. Before we jump into that, Tesla was one that we've been taking a look at over the course of the past couple days here. Actually, we ended up getting into a really nice day trade here. We swung up. We saw some great overnight moves. Friday had a massive gap up at the end of the day before we had this aftermarket rally as well. So we actually had two trailers for our Tesla trade that we ended up selling, one at the peak here just as we passed over that 402 level, held the other one, ended up getting stopped out down here at this 384 level on Tesla. So still a nice 80% trade, but these cons went all the way up to about 350 to 400% after taking the entry down here. But overall, really nice trade on Tesla. But today, the intraday trade that we ended up taking here was Apple. And Apple, what we had been seeing is a sideways consolidation. We had these really nice gap ups, these big pushes here. And then instead of pulling back, we started to create this sideways action. And we saw these lower highs getting put in, which created this bull flag ultimately with a flat bottom here. We never fully broke under here on the 1 hour chart. So the higher time frame was ultimately in our favor. And what we ended up seeing was this morning, we finally got another breakout with some momentum for us to trade here today. And if we take a look at the 5-minute, here's what we ended up seeing intraday. We marked out our first 5-minute candle. We ended up having this, if you take a look at this, let me color code this a little bit differently here. This orange line here was actually some prior day consolidation. So we saw it dancing around here after we broke below it. We came up, kept tapping it, broke above it, kept tapping it, using it as support, broke below it, used it as resistance, bounced back into it, used it as resistance. So this was a pretty key level that we had marked out on the chart from the prior day. Now, if we jump into here on today's chart, we ultimately have marked out a few levels after we saw this bounce off of this prior day low, which if you can take a look here, it was this prior day low here. We had this really nice reaction on the 5-minute candle, pushing us all the way up above, breaking this higher time frame flag here and effectively putting in this 5-minute order block. So effectively, I was looking for us to potentially get some displacement here, come back in, retest that 5-minute candle. Ended up never doing that. It pushed up even higher and we got this beautiful 5-minute retest here on our prior day consolidation level that we had marked out. If we go to the 1-minute chart, this is ultimately where I ended up taking my entry. Got a really nice entry on a pretty impulsive candle here. We had great displacement here, breaking us out of this prior day consolidation level. Came all the way back in. We ended up dipping back into the level, but we saw really aggressive price action here on this candle here. Now, what's interesting here that I've been really learning about my trades and my entries, I've been tending to take a really quick entry, and that quick entry has been often a little bit too aggressive to the point where sometimes it ends up reversing on me. So I've been trying to wait to really get to the core question of what is aggressive price action? How do I know when aggressive price action is actually coming up? This was a great example of this because this red candle started going down into the level and it lazily went down. But what you will see is you will see impulsive movements on the chart to show that people are stepping in. And that's exactly what we saw. Obviously, this candle is huge. In hindsight, it looks like a great entry candle. In the moment, as the clock was ticking down on the 1-minute chart, we saw aggressive movement. This candle started shooting upwards, showing that buyers were aggressively stepping in. I believe I ended up hopping in probably about this level here, right as we were passing the body of this red candle. It was reclaiming this prior day consolidation. It was reclaiming the high of this candle, and that was about when I ended up hopping into this trade. I had targets with high of day and then ultimate targets of prior day high. And so that's what ended up happening. We ended up seeing this. We ended up holding it through this consolidation, this rejection here, and ended up taking out my last trailer all the way up here at the 245 level. The minute we passed into that 245 level, I sold on the strength that we saw with this candle right here, just so I could sell into strength. No idea, obviously, that it was going to continue. And then I had to get ready for work. So that was the other thing that I had to do with selling out on that particular candle with strength. So got to trade as your lifestyle demands. And I have a very set window in the morning when I can actually trade right now. So wasn't able to hold it all through the day, but ended up getting a really nice trade upwards of 30%. But ultimately, that's exactly what it was, a break retest based off momentum. Again, we saw aggressive momentum moving up, saw a pullback, saw a push above a high again, creating a higher low, lower high, or a higher low, higher and a higher high. And then we pushed up, created another higher high, came back in, retested this consolidation level. And that ultimately was the entry level that I got. Now you could still have even gotten off of this once you break out of this prior day high. Use this as a potential entry here, because this prior day high is a key level on the reclaim of this prior day high and could have captured that move. So there were a few different entries that you were able to take today. Even this consolidation on this high after we created another high here, this consolidation and this candle here effectively was a really smart entry point as well, right there, this guy here. So that could have served as a really smart entry point as well. So this was the Apple trade, momentum, higher time frame breakout. And that's the other thing. Again, let me go back to the higher time frame. This is super important to understand and something that I'm continuing to learn. Take a look at the higher time frame. Look for tickers that are breaking out of patterns on a higher time frame. They're breaking a flat top, they're breaking a flag pattern, they're spiking up overnight, breaking prior day highs, prior day lows. Oftentimes there's continuation momentum, and that's the best momentum to play. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, definitely drop a like in the comments and definitely add some questions down below. If you took this trade, love to know how you guys profited on it, but definitely give that like button a nice tap and pound that subscribe button so you get more of this awesome content. Until the next trade review, I hope this is helpful. Have a great week, everyone.